We're talking Goldfields and Mbete. The mining giant allegedly gave the ANC chairperson a 28 million rand deal that could be construed as a bribe. We covered it last week and we brought you more details in this week's Mail and Guardian. Now, Craig, tell us, what is the story all about?
It starts with the alleged original sin of Goldfields' its empowerment consortium that it put together for its South Deep mining license. It put together a very politically connected consortium and it got that license. And there are a lot of allegations of corruption in that process that were dug up by very many journalists. And Goldfields then instituted an investigation into that, where the second leg of the story comes in, and that is what appears to be a cover-up by Goldfields. Primarily the way it dealt with that investigation when its findings were presented to the board, and it decided instead of having those findings written up in an official report, it instead took away its CEO's bonus and sent the investigators packing, effectively.
Tell us about the new details of the ongoing cover-up.
The US authorities, the Securities and Exchange Commission, are investigating Goldfields. The company was forced to announce. A key witness in the US investigation has denied the story that was reported by the investigators, and now the story that he's presented to us, it's different. It undermines his original reported testimony. This is Jerome Braun's, once Jacob Zuma's lawyer. He was a key architect in the Goldfields empowerment deal. The US lawyers reported one thing. He's now saying, effectively, those US investigators are lying. I did not say that. I said this.
What's interesting to note in your article is that subsequent to the presentation being done to Goldfields, he was in line for a gigantic amount of money from some deal that just happened to coincide with this damaging information where he was the key witness. What's the link there?
We know that there was concern within Goldfields around about the time that the US investigators presented their report. Following that evidence, there was talk amongst the Goldfields executives that Jerome Braun should be paid an amount of money in relation to the BEE deal, 7.5 million. It could be that he was owed that money, but it raised eyebrows at the least.
When I first read the story, my first question was, why Mbete?
I don't know. I can't answer that. But Mbete is a very, very, very powerful politician in South Africa. What Jerome Braun was reported as saying in the US investigators' report was, there are lots of ways, if you have the power and influence, to do so. I don't know what pressure Baleka could wield on the Director General or Minister, and what pressure the Minister would then wield on the Director General. And if you're as politically connected as Mbete is, she would command a great deal of respect and attention and would be in a position to put pressure on a lot of people if she chose to do so. So that is what Jerome Braun was quoted as saying in the US investigators' report. In his new response to us yesterday, he also admitted, telling the US investigators that she was very influential, but he did not believe that she would put any pressure on Goldfields.
One of our readers, who calls themselves Puma, called it a never-ending story of self-enrichment of the elitist few to the detriment of the economy and the citizens at large. Now, Craig, we don't know the full list of the 73 who benefited, but apparently there were others who were very connected.
So we have the list now. What the US investigators report found is evidence of fronting in that. We haven't yet gotten into the details of that. At the very least, on the list are, well, for example, Jerome Braun's, Jacob Zuma's one-time lawyer. There is a relative of Mendi Msimang, who was the ANC's Treasurer General. There is a Zinzi Mandela. There's Mbete. Friends and relatives of the consultants of Goldfields that put together the deal, and the list goes on.
Now, there's a little bit of a dig at Mpele from one of our readers, K-Nator. He says, Mpele herself is a beneficiary of BEE. Her mission is also anti-poor and pro-big business, and she saw this in 2010 and kept quiet. The only difference is that Mbete benefited more than Mpele. Quite a scathing critique, Craig. Did Mpele only come out about this deal once she was in politics?
Yes. She only came out about this deal when she left the Goldfield board and started her political party. We're not clear on her involvement, but she became the chair of the Goldfields board at the time that this empowerment deal was put together. As far as we can tell, the whole thing was put together before she joined the board. What she knew of this deal at the time, we don't know. We do know that the US investigation, or the international law firm, was hired whilst she was chair of the board. But she only came out publicly and spoke about this after she left the company and joined politics.
Craig, what sort of action, if any, will follow this or can be taken after what you guys have revealed?
It appears, to the best of the public's knowledge, that Goldfields was not going to take any action aside from removing the bonus of its CEO and supposedly strengthening some governance processes within the company. Now the US Securities and Exchange Commission is investigating the company. In South Africa, it appears that laws would have been broken here. I'm not sure if anyone who has knowledge of these have reported them to the South African authorities. Let's see if somebody lays charges. I don't know.
Why should our readers care about this deal?
We've already spoken about the importance of black empowerment in South Africa. It's critical. It must happen, and it must happen fairly, and it must be broad-based. Those who have been severely disempowered by the apartheid system and continue to be disempowered by the legacy of that, they need to be helped along, and they need to be brought into the economy. Not just a small circle of people in the ruling elite. This story seems to be an object lesson in how BEE systems are being perverted in this country, and that has to stop.